I know you say that when we die, we all go into pure positive energy. Does someone like Saddam Hussein or Hitler have the same amount of pure positive energy as a good person? Or is it like a set of light bulbs with some dimmer and some brighter, each holding the light to the degree that they can?
Oh, you're working so hard to make them not go to the place.
You're right.
Without exception, all of you reemerge into pure positive energy.
Even the bad guys. I mean, but like they have the same amount of light after they've killed millions. They go the same place and they get welcomed. It just doesn't seem right. I'm so human, I know.
Well, the thing that's interesting about this is you're going to come to really appreciate the incredible well-being, welcoming committee that is waiting for all of you in time. Think about it from your human standpoint. There was a time not so very long ago that this man that you're describing was honored and respected, while feared, but respected by many. And now there are many who scorn him. And isn't it nice that there is not some disconnected, arbitrary, physical human that's going to decide where you go?
You're right. Thank you. You're right.
Wouldn't you really rather it be the way that it is, that all our pure positive energy who come forth into this physical arena, who experience the contrast and come to conclusions and live out their life in alignment or not? In other words, we've never seen anyone who was connected to who they are doing the kinds of things that these that you've described have done. In other words, there are many, many more that you could add to that list who only in their disconnection are ever behaving in the way that they are. And we are in no way defending their disconnected acts.
Yes.
But we want you to understand that the reason that people behave in the ways they do is always in direct relationship to how in alignment they are with who they are. In other words, and as you wish for their, in other words, think about what most humans are saying, even if they were understanding in the context that Abraham is presenting it. So someone like Saddam comes forth into his physical form, and he is pure positive energy, just like you were when he comes forth. Then he lives life and comes to conclusions that are different from the ones that you do. And through all of it, manages, and we promise you that this is the case, otherwise he could not behave in the way that he did, to become disconnected a large part of the time from who he is. And in his death experience, he literally reemerges back into pure positive energy. Now, what many humans, and you were among them as you began here, are saying is, you may understand that he was pure positive energy, and you may understand that something got him out of whack with all of that. And now you are requesting that when he does have his death experience, that he still please remain out of whack. In other words, feel how illogical that is. We promise you that if humans knew what the death experience is like, you would not ever give death to those rascals that you have come to abhor, because that is the ultimate releasing of the resistance. But if you were to know him, if you had the benefit, let's say that you are the teacher healer that you are, and you come forth into this physical environment, and you set forth intentions to help influential people come into alignment with who they are. And you've done such a good job of setting forth that intention that you come into an arena where you actually have the ear of some evil dictator, and you are able to present to him. Now, you've written him in your book, and so you've practiced seeing him as he really is, not as he is being right now. So you're tuned in to the non-physical essence of who he is. You're not like the rest of the world focused upon the bad deeds that he is doing, the terrible things that he's doing. You have focused, as your inner being does and as his inner being does, upon the pure positive essence of him. And now you are in the room with him, and instead of abhorring him, you are in love with him. You are in love with the potential of him, because you know every terrible thing he did made him want this even more. Every moment of being out of control made him want to be more in control of his own experience. In other words, you managed through your hard work even before you sat down with him, and through your work in your book of focusing upon the best of him, to align with the pure positive energy essence of him. It's possible that you could, in your connection, just as Jesus healed and so many others, you could be a catalyst that would bring someone into alignment, and their behavior would begin to change. And you would say, oh, well, that would be good work. And we say, then why are you not willing to let the heavens provide the same good work?
Thank you. That's a very good answer. I appreciate that. I was raised Catholic, you know, you have to understand.
And what that means is, I was raised to believe in the imperfection in people. And when you're raised to believe in that, whether it's Catholic or whatever the religion is, when you're raised to predominantly focus upon what could go wrong, you manage to get yourself pretty separated from who you really are, don't you?
Yes, I'm very glad it's like that, what you just explained, because when I look at people that I love, that have not maybe lived the best lives, then I know that even they're going to be okay. So actually, this is a good answer, and I'm very happy about it. Thank you.
We want to add a little bit to it, and because we want you not to be upset with yourself one bit about finding negative emotion toward people or circumstances. We want to explain how that comes to be and why it matters so much. You want, with every fiber of your being, to be in alignment with who you are. And when people behave in ways that allow that, you praise that behavior. But when someone like Saddam behaves in a way that when you observe his behavior, you feel so terrible, now you resent his behavior because it feels to you that he is responsible for this emptiness within you. And so whenever someone hurts you, if someone walked up and whopped you on the side of the head, you'd want to whack them back. In other words, it's sort of a knee-jerk response when someone hurts you. And so as you see that his behavior has caused you pain, it's not unusual to sort of want to, in a knee-jerk fashion, slap him back. But here's the thing we really want you to hear. Every time someone seems to be the cause that makes you feel that way, and you slap them back, you're disconnected from who you are, and that's the real slapping. Right. And so the longer you push against the behavior of other people, the more you use them as your excuse to slap yourself around. Yes. You see, and in time it really wears you down until you really get carried away with it. This is the way religions have been formed. And then you say, well, we'll really get you. We'll really, really, really get you. We will condemn you to eternal damnation. That's how much you have hurt us, and that's how bad we feel. And we say, well, give it everything you've got here in this physical form. But we've never seen anyone wishing eternal damnation on anyone who didn't just feel awful now. And oh, what a relief they feel when they reemerge into non-physical. And you know what else we've noticed? The one who condemned feels many times worse than the one who is condemned. Right. And they all reemerge into non-physical energy, and the one who is condemned doesn't feel nearly the relief that the condemner feels. Oh. Because the one who was being condemned was closer to vibrational alignment usually than the condemner. The condemner always first feels worse than the condemned. You work so much harder at your condemning than you do at your being the one who is condemned. I just
didn't want him to have as much light. I mean, I really didn't want to condemn him as much as to say, I wanted him to be a dim light bulb, and I wanted to be a bright light bulb. That's kind of what I wanted.
Well, actually, it turns out it's the other way around.
Really?
The more they want to make a difference, the more they really go berserk when they get crossways of their energy. A car that's going 100 miles an hour and hits a tree is a much bigger problem than a car that goes 5 miles an hour and hits a tree. So sometimes these powerful teachers come forth and get crossways of their energy and do horrible things, but it doesn't make them any less of a teacher. Gotcha. In fact, we see powerful desire being born in the hearts of billions around your planet as a result of what they've witnessed, not only from Saddam, but from George Bush.
Yeah. Yeah.
In other words, neither one of them are connected to source energy as they perform the behavior that they are performing. Gotcha. Both of them are responsible for horrendous acts and for terrible suffering around the planet, you see.
Right.
And yet, you would more likely say, well, I would like the president of my nation to have a brighter bulb and the evil dictator to have not so bright a bulb. And we say, oh, are we ever glad you are not all choosing it? Because your biases are distorted. So often you try to make those decisions from your disconnected state. Yeah. And when you come into connection, you have love for everyone. When you come into connection, you have help for everyone, you see. If you see someone bleeding in the street, we know you would help them. But when you see someone so disconnected from source energy that they are flailing about, hurting others, you don't want to help them. You want to hurt them. You want to taser them. You want to hit them with the billy club. You want to kick them when they're down. You want to put the handcuffs on them and really hurt them. You want to drag them in the way that it hurts them. You want to put them into confinement. In other words, this is the way humans behave. And in all of that...
I'm terrible.
In all of that, pushing against, all you're doing is crying out for the well-being that you seek. And what we're getting at is, no matter how bad those bad ones seem, every one of them are causing you to launch rockets of desire, and your vibrational escrow is brighter and clearer and surer. In other words, it's hard for people to hear that when you're sick in your physical body, the sicker your physical body is, the weller your non-physical body is. Because every time you're sick, you ask for more wellness. So the more terrible things that are happening around your planet, the more you're asking for more. And the wonderful thing of all wonderful things is that it is from this vibrational escrow that all new babies are born. It is from this vibrational escrow that all new life is coming forth, you see. And so the dilution ratio helps. In other words, the old ones that have managed to get more resistant, because the longer you live, the more you find things to fuss and worry about, and so the more disconnected you become. And so more of them are croaking, and more fresh new ones that are tuned in, tapped in, turned on are coming forth. And then there are those like you who are deliberately and systematically moving yourself up the emotional scale. This truly is the time of awakening. And we promise you that when, first of all, you don't have to wait for anybody else to wake up to be awakened.
Yes.
And next, as you become a planet that is more awakened, you will find less reason to hate anyone, because you will, in your connection, in your alignment, in your awakening, you will have found your power and your invincibility. And in your knowledge of your power, then no matter how anybody else is behaving, you don't feel threatened,
Yes.
you see.
Yes,
And it is only from that disconnected feeling of threat that anyone ever misbehaves. That's what the control that people seek. In other words, no matter what nation is seeking the control, you never seek control unless you are feeling vulnerable, you see.
And the disconnection itself seems to be whatever punishment that there would be. It's just the disconnection.
The punishment is just a byproduct of how bad you feel.
Yes.
And so as you find more and more ways to exact punishment on others, it's just an indication of the level of disconnect that mass consciousness is finding, you see. And so now having given you all of that basis, we are wanting to just ask this simple exercise of you.
Sure.
We'll play with it a little bit here, and then in the days that follow, take this subject, because you're not completely resolved in it. In other words, this is an example of us knowing what we know and presenting it to you in a powerful way, but you can't all of a sudden know that. So over the next days, just ask yourself, is this a downstream thought or an upstream thought? And so when you say, please, Abraham, tell me that this monster that I've witnessed will not find peace in heaven. Ask yourself, is that upstream or downstream? Can't you just feel?
I can.
And then say, well, wouldn't it be nice if we all truly are so loved that anything that we've found in ways of disconnection we can really leave behind in the death experience? Is that an upstream thought or a downstream thought?
That's downstream.
It truly is, isn't it?
Really is, yes.
Very good.
Thank you so much.